Unscripted Moments, a podcast about Propagandhi. On today's episode, we are discussing Guiding Lights, track 1 on 2025's At Peace LP on Epitaph Record, not to be confused with the popular 1990s soap opera Guiding Light.
Oh, yeah. Dude, do you have a history of soap opera watching? Because I got a story.
Sometimes when you're sick or something, when you're a kid, you just pop on, and I kept that tradition going into my 20s. I would watch As the World Turns sometimes.
Nice. Mine was The Young and the Restless.
Oh, Y&R.
Yeah. That was my jam because my mom loved it. And so I would come home from school, get off the bus, and I would walk in the front door, and she would flip it on right as I would walk in the door. And it was like the perfect time every single day. And I got so addicted. And my dad found it so insufferable that he'd walk in the door, my mom and I would be watching Young and the Restless every single day, like a couple of addicts. It was a good time.
Once you get hooked on those storylines, though, it's really hard to turn away from it, though.
Yeah, I was really into the saga of Victor Newman. I can even remember the characters' names. And we're talking, dude, we're talking 35 years ago I was watching this. So I mean, this is something else. This is it burned into my brain as a formative childhood experience at this point.
I think the popular one was All My Children, right? That was the Susan Lucci one, right?
Yeah, I think so. There was definitely ones that were more popular. Also, Days of Our Lives was a
Yeah.
big one. Days of Our Lives, yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Which ones do any of them still exist?
I'm sure they surely must. Like, let me just Google Young and the Restless here really quick. I got to see
Sorry,
what the
this is a
Newman.
tangent that went off the rails real quick today, but
Yeah,
I think
Young
it's
and the Restless.
necessary.
Dude, it is still on. It's been going since 1973. They have 50 seasons, and it looks like the main characters are still the main characters from when I was a kid. Literally, Eric Braeden plays Victor Newman. Sharon Case still plays Sharon Newman. Peter Bergman plays Jack Abbott, and Joshua Morrow plays Nick Newman. All these characters were on it when I was a kid. So we're talking
Is
like these people have been on this show for 30 plus years at this point.
is is Y&R the soap opera that Stephen A. Smith has a cameo on?
Man, I have no idea.
Because I watched a John Oliver special about soap operas and how much he loves them, and he wants to be on a soap opera just because Stephen A. Smith has a recurring role on one of the soap operas. And they showed clips of the Stephen A. acting on it, and it was hilarious.
Stephen A. Smith soap opera. Let me see. He's General Hospital, recurring
Hospital,
character
okay.
named Brick on ABC's
Yeah.
General Hospital.
And it's the best character name too.
Brick. Unbelievable. Okay. Well, this has been the perfect start. I really needed this. So we're talking about Guiding Lights. And I was looking at genius.com because our friend of the podcast, Patrick Mullen, does a great array of little blurbs over there. So Patrick has this tune updated. He says it's one of the final songs written for the album. Todd brought it to the practice space very late in the recording process. It contains for Chris some new guitar techniques he had to hone. He said the arpeggios, finger picking in the song is inspired by Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders. And even though David Gillis doesn't appear on this record, his first album since joining the band where he had no songwriting or performance credit, Todd does play a 7-string guitar built by Beeve on this song, which Todd did confirm to me in a message on Instagram that he did play a Beeve-built guitar on the recording of this song, and it is a 7-string. Chris stated that in conversations with Todd, he understood the song to be about Sderot Cinema, which we will talk about. It's an event where Israeli settlers congregate on higher ground in Sderot in Israel, right on the Gaza border, to watch Gaza be bombed. And it's a joyous event for many Israeli settlers. And this is a quote: "The thud of shell fire, flash of an explosion, and pall of smoke are greeted with exclamations of approval. What a beauty," says one appreciative spectator. And then live before the song came on, Todd said, quote, "It's a sad one," about the content of the song on the Toronto date for the At Peace Canadian tour, which you and I were at. So that's a little genius.com blurb about this song, just to kind of set the stage for what we'll chat about later on.
Beauty.
So before we get into that, though, on our last episode for No Longer Young, we didn't really do any sort of life updates at all. We just kind of plowed through because it was our first time attempting to record an episode about a song in a long time. And to be honest with you, I'm still kind of struggling to record episodes about songs at the moment for this podcast. We can talk about that. So let's do a little catch up, Steve. What's new on your end?
I can, when was? Do you remember? Do you have an idea of when the last time we recorded was? Was it this quarter?
It was March when we released the No Longer Young full song episode. So it's been quite some time, but you have had a lot of things happen since then. So I have tried to remain as unobtrusive into your schedule as possible.
Yeah. So a lot of things that have happened. So in the beginning of March, Zoe and I adopted a dog
Mm-hmm.
named Mrs. Coach after Tammy Taylor from Friday Night Lights,
Perfect.
and she's a boxer bully mix, and she was 10 months old when we adopted her. And she had had FHO surgery, which for a broken femoral head back in December before we
Mm.
adopted her. And then at the end of April, she kind of had zoomies on a walk and fell to the ground and broke her second femoral head.
Yeah, that's a pretty unlikely couple of injuries there.
So that left us, and the day it happened was like it was a Thursday at 5 o'clock, and then we Zoe was able to get her home from the trail, and we were like, okay, I think we got to take her to the vet. So we obviously Thursday after 5 o'clock, the only vet that's open is the emergency vet, which is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to remember, we have her for a month and a half at this point.
Right. She's brand new.
Brand new. We go to the emergency vet and we're like, oh, what? Something must have happened to her already hurt hip, already surgically repaired situation. And we're at the emergency vet until probably 2 a.m. And then we find out she has her other femoral head that's broken. And we're like,
Mm.
this is crazy. And the vet's like, oh, this is normally what it looks like when a dog is hit by a car. But this happened on a walk.
Yeah, while she was like just running around in some damp grass.
Yeah. And then, and so we get home at like 2:30, 3 o'clock. Zoe has to fly to Halifax for work the next morning at 6 a.m.
So she basically just didn't go to bed and just went straight to the airport.
Pretty much. And that day was one of the most challenging days I've ever experienced because she could not walk, she could not stand up and move, and she was just crying in pain.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult and challenging day. But we got through it. So we came home. She was only gone for 24 hours, and we powered through. We had like a station set up in the living room. We got an X pen and basically lived. Primarily, Zoe lived in an X pen in the living room with Mrs. Coach for 2.5 to 3 weeks. We got surgery where she had her femoral head removed, and now we've been on rehab and trying to get her to like learn how to walk properly again and all of that. So
What's so
it's
crazy is like that it was a birth defect, right? I mean, it was just
yeah.
some kind of thing that was just bound to happen sooner or later in both legs it sounds like.
And it, yeah, and it like they're not sure if it was possibly like a nutritional issue when she was a puppy because she came from a homeless encampment in Guelph.
Mhm.
So who knows what she was eating when she was a puppy, like young, super young. So, anyways, it's dealt with, and she's on the road to recovery. She's doing great.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad that everything's okay. I know those days were extremely challenging for you and the you know, the costs of unexpected surgeries are, like in an era where things are just like skyrocketing in price too, like having unexpected expenses like that just hits so much harder than they did even just a couple of years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yuck. Is she up and moving around yet?
Oh yeah, she today she did her first around the block walk. So, yeah, Yesterday she was a bit limpy today because we had to give her a bath yesterday because we haven't been able to because of like staples and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
she was getting a bit gross, but she got a bath yesterday. Now she's super soft, smells great, and she limped her way around the block this morning.
Wonderful. Well, she's a little sweetie pie. Glad to hear she's doing good. Yeah. Anything else?
Just
Just
trying to ride
working,
bikes as much as we can, doing some work.
going to
Got
Ty Cats games.
got yeah. Ticats home opener was last week. They lost in overtime, if you can believe. After I sent you the picture of them up 14 in the fourth quarter,
Oh my
they
God.
lost by fumbling in an overtime.
Oh my God. Was it
Um,
very hot at the game? It's been brutally hot lately.
it was hot while the sun was up, but then the sun went down. And it was kind of chilly. It was nice. It
Okay,
was
cool.
it was a great experience. So we're still trying to get Greg and Patrina out to a Ticats game, and
We want to go. We want to go. There was like that game where it's like the preseason time where we actually had like the Friday or Saturday or whatever it was free, and you're like, no, 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 don't come to a preseason game. So we had the sort of the opportunity to do so, and we just
and
couldn't make. We
it
just
was
didn't
the
do it.
right call because the weather was horrific.
Yeah, yeah,
And no one sat in the seats. Everyone just stood in the concourse and watched, and it was still freezing. It was pouring rain, like pouring.
yeah. It's been nuts too because we had like such a such a wet spring. I mean, it was just horrible. And now it's just hot and sunny every single day. So I've been out there trying to ride my bike too, but I had a back flare up late last week where my back was just not right, and so I've been struggling physically this week to stay out there. But I was able to get out there yesterday, get to the doctor yesterday, get fixed up, and now I rode last night and was mostly pain free. So I'm hopeful, crossing my fingers, that I can put this little back flare up issue behind me. For anybody that doesn't know, I had back surgery in 2017, so my spinal health is very much a long term tentative question. And I just kind of appreciate the last 9 years of good spinal health that I've had. And I'm just, hoping that this little experience wasn't sort of a massive setback that will lead to other issues down the road. But just cross my fingers that I'm kind of back to normal at this moment because it's been sucky.
You've had some pretty good rides too.
Yeah, yeah. I've been last Monday. I mean, I rode 48 miles last Monday, and then I rode another 40 miler last week as well. And then I idiotically did some core strengthening exercises that I shouldn't have done. I
Oh,
pushed it too far. So I was already sensitive because I had had sort of a sore issue going on. And then I pushed it in ways I shouldn't have. And then it would just got 5 times worse. So then I went to the doctor yesterday and she gave me some uh, I got some steroid prednisones, methylprednisone, and some meloxicam. So I am doped to the gills right now.
awesome.
Yeah, give them to me. So I'm taking them. And things were good. I rode last night. I rode 30 miles last night, and it was perfect. So hopefully the issue with the disc is good for now. Um,
Nice.
I also have to have the front yard at the house dug up and the entire sewer line replaced in the next couple of days. I had to do a homeowner's insurance claim because the house just wasn't draining, and they ran cameras and hydro jets down into the sewer and everything. And I have to have the entire sewer line replaced. And funnily enough, the municipal connection for this house is across the street. So they have to dig up the brand new pavement that the city just put in on my street last year. They have to dig up the entire thing to replace my sewer municipal lines. So all of my neighbors in the coming days will be prevented from driving down the street while my road is being dug up so that my sewer line can be replaced.
Is it because you had clay pipes?
Yeah, the clay pipes are original to the house, built in 1951. So, they have to be replaced because they get corrupted with collapsing sections and root invasions and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had not a great time over at this house lately. So
That's the
had to
same
do
thing we had done in 2023
yeah,
and had to get all our clay pipes collapsed, and it was just a nightmare. And
yeah. It is the freaking worst. And before I bought this house, the last owners put a deck on the front of the house, and the deck is lined up perfectly with the way the house currently drains. So if they were going to replace it as is, they would have to tear down the deck, so they have to reroute the drain to not tear down the deck. So putting the deck on the front of the house added an additional $4,000 to the cost of the job, which I was thrilled, completely thrilled by. Um, to have that happen. I was like, oh, of course, yes, of course. The deck is perfectly aligned with the drainage of the entire main sewer line of the house. So yeah, hooray for that. And really, really super unhappy about all of it. But, hopefully it'll be done soon and hopefully I can just move on with my life.
Yeah, that's from experience. It was a really terrible process.
Yeah, they have to drill a hole through the side of the foundation for the rerouted line. So I'm just like, I can't wait to listen to jackhammers going straight through the side wall of my basement foundation in a couple of days. It's going to be super duper fun.
Yeah, ours they did the front lawn, the foundation, and the entire basement. They
Yeah,
dug up.
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. You guys went through a hell of a basement time where you were like installing new sump pumps, and I text you, "What are you doing today?" "Oh, I'm jackhammering," and I was like, "You're doing the jackhammering?" And you're like, "Yep." So I know that you've been there, done that with your old house that you got there.
Yeah, ours is a 1922 house, so
What have you been listening to? Any music or books that you've been reading?
I'm currently in the middle of two books.
Mm-hmm.
One being, let me just bring it up here so I don't botch the title.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently in the middle of Eye of the World by Robert Jordan,
Okay.
which is so long. Like, I borrowed it for 2 weeks from the library and I made it to 7% read in 2 weeks. It is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. So I don't know if anyone listening has read the Wheel of Time series, but please let me know if it's worth going through all 13 books.
Okay.
And then I'm also doing Mood Machine by Liz Pelly,
Yeah, I read that last year.
which is phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah, it's about the horrificness of Spotify, which has only gotten more horrific since that book was published, since the owner of Spotify has made some very dubious financial investments in war and technology of some kind.
I just got to the part where they were talking about like the transition of lo-fi from being like a SoundCloud kind of community to now being just generative AI algorithmic processes, and
Hmm.
it just it makes me want to throw up.
Yeah. What have you been listening to? Any good tunes to recommend?
Um, I mean, I'm loving that the new Arch Enemy song with the new singer. It's 10 out of 10.
Awesome. I have been listening to a lot of new stuff. I've been listening to that Stephen Brodsky uh, acoustic band, New Idea Society. I've been listening to their Fire on the Hill record a lot. I've been listening to the album Seas by the Omaha band Criteria a lot. Amazing, amazing record. Seas by Criteria. So good. I checked out Psychedelic Munitions by Western Addiction. And then I also kind of went through like a little like pop punk emo thing lately where I was listening to The Long Way, The Slow Way by Camp Trash, Keep Your Cool by Riley, and Stay Golden by Combust. I listened to some experimental metal. Diana has a record called Bodhisattva that I was listening to the other day. Sun O, that experimental metal band, has a record called Canon I've been listening to, and then a band called I think it's Yob or Yob Yob has a record called Our Raw Heart that I've been checking out a lot lately. Um, and man, there was something else, Deer Tick. Oh my God, I'm listening to so much Deer Tick, which I suggested to you yesterday. So I hope you do wind up checking that out. And then that band Paradise Lost that you recommended to me. I've been checking their stuff out a bunch too. I listened to their first record in the
They're
car
great
the other
stuff.
day. Super, super good. So yeah, I've been listening to all kinds of stuff. I just finished reading a travel book called Lost on Planet China by J. Martin Troost, which was interesting. I'm reading it Where It All Went Wrong by Dan Ozzi right now. He has a like a self-published 100-page book about with some essays and stuff like that that I got off his website because I'm a member of Dan Ozzi's um like his Substack or whatever.
Awesome.
So I've been reading that, and yeah, I've actually been reading kind of a lot lately, which has been really nice. Oh, and I'm also reading um, a book called "The People's History of the Future," which is a speculative fiction short story collection
Oh,
by Vincent Laval, um, and various authors. So I've been reading that a lot as well, and it's like super good so far.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's really good. You would like it. I'll loan it. I'll loan you a paperback copy of it next time I see you.
Awesome, thanks. I did forget about one new music that I would like to share, even though it's
Hmm.
not new. I shared it with you. It's the Temperance album, Hermitage, Dharma's Eyes Part 2
Yeah,
is just a absolute front to back banger of a record. Like it
nice.
is like the grandeur that this record has is almost unmatched. It
I,
is
I
so
did I
good.
did listen to the first couple of songs of that, and that band is new to me. So they've got a bunch of records too, right?
Yeah, I honestly haven't listened to any of their other records, but I've listened to this specific album here no less than 150 times this year.
Dude, that's how it goes for me. Like whenever I got really into like Unleash the Archers a few years ago, like I was only listening to Apex like over and over and over and over and over. And then I would try to listen to their older records and it just wasn't hitting the same. And like when you got me into Typo, I was listening to like Bloody Kisses and like Life is Killing Me like over and over and over and over. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like when you find something new, you just have to go through it until you're ready to move on to the next one. I'm a slow processor like that, so I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm not ready to move on from this. Like I listen to this nearly once a day because it's that good. Like if it came out this year, it would be my album of the year hands down, but it didn't. So,
Nice. Cool. Anything else going on? We're chugging away on our summer, getting going here. Just busy as heck. Busy, busy, busy.
yeah, just getting stuff done around the
So
house, yard work, the classic stuff.
so we probably should address the fact the challenges that this
Yeah.
podcast is facing. Um, so man, I'm really struggling with the podcast lately. Um, I'm thinking about this all the time about how I look at the output of episodes that we've done in the past, you and me, and then me and Keith, and then me by myself. And like I look back on it and it's like another person made it all. Like I don't even see me whenever I scroll back on all that stuff. I'm just like, how the fuck did this happen? Like, how did all of these things get made? Because like life is so like chaotic right now that like the thought of preparing for episodes right now just like gives me like a complete like existential collapse.
You've got to remember that both of our lives have changed significantly. Yours especially since you
Hmm.
started, but even since the two of us started together, things have changed significantly for both of us in the 3.5 years, or at this point almost 4 years that I've been doing this with you. Like, things have changed a lot. So and especially with the at peace songs, and I kind of sent this to you the other day, where it's like it's really hard to prepare for them because we're coming at these songs way quicker than we've ever come at anything else. So
Hmm.
it's it's much easier to talk about, state lottery or nation states or something that's been around for 30 years.
It's in our DNA as people. You know what I mean? Like those
These
like older
songs,
records.
yeah, like even Empire stuff, like this stuff here is so fresh. It's
Hmm.
very hard to develop that connection with the record the same way you have with the other records, to be able to like muster up you know the juge to be able to sit here and talk about it for a couple hours. Like, I'll be perfectly transparent. I have not listened to At Peace the entire way through since May 2025.
Oh man, yeah, it's I'm really having a hard time like putting effort into the show right now. It's really confusing to me as well because for so long in my life I have just been gung ho on this project and now I'm just like at a complete standstill. Um and it's really difficult. And
Like,
I've been just really struggling with it in general.
we'll get there. We'll finish all of them eventually, but like, and to everyone listening being like, guys, just suck it up and do it. But it's like we've got a lot of stuff going on. And like Greg's getting married in September. Like there's a lot of stuff happening right now that we need to prioritize.
Hmm.
That, we're gonna do an episode when we can.
Yeah, well, and what's really funny is my game plan for this album is to do all of the Todd songs first,
Yep.
and then do the Chris songs later because Chris over on his Patreon is making episodes about his at peace songs. So if you want any of the Chris commentary, you got to join Chris's Patreon because he's over there doing the record. He's already done Benito, he's done Cat Guy. He's working on Something Needs to Die, but maybe it's not you. Over there. So he's already doing episodes about his songs over there. So I'm kind of just enjoying being a listener to see what he has to say about those songs before I, you know, work on
Before
any
we
of
add
those.
our completely unnecessary commentary to the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like this show. So I just wanted everybody out there to know that I'm super proud of this show. I'm so thrilled that we got to do this. I'm not ending the show, but the output on serious episodes that talk about songs in depth are going to be much slower because, like, when I started this podcast, I didn't even really care for Victory Lap. I thought it was fine. You know what I mean? Like I grew into Victory Lap making the podcast um but it was already 2.5 years old when we made the first episode for the show. So Victory Lap was much, much older of a record than At Pieces comparatively now when we're making these episodes.
Yeah, like, like I said, I think I've listened to At Peace the entire way through maybe 3 times.
I've listened to
Maybe.
it way, way more than that. Our experience in that is not the same, but I do think that that's very funny considering you're the co-host of the show.
I'm I straight up rarely listen to Propagandhi.
Yeah, yeah. Well, plus I burned you out.
It's
So
just not my preferred genre of music anymore. Like, yeah, at one point in my life it was. Like now I listen to pretty much power metal.
hmm
Like, that's what
hmm
I listen to. I listened to that Temperance record 150 times. Like,
yeah. Um, okay, so that's out of the way. Should we get on with it?
yeah, let's get to the best part of this episode, the cover by Matt
Okay.
Comtois.
So Matt, if everybody remembers, everybody might remember that Matt did a French cover of Adventures in Zoocosis. He did a cover for Iteration. Both of those were on the double CD bootleg compilation that came with the pre-orders of the book. And it very much is a bootleg because it came on like a CDR thingy. And then he's also done an Anti-Manifesto cover as well. So Matt is going to play this fantastic cover really quick. And then I'm going to have a little bit of commentary that Matt sent in about the song. So you're going to love it. This is Matt Comtois playing Guiding Lights. Enjoy.
sounds of laughter, joyous songs. The guests are dancing, something's off. Distant pounding, cascades of light. Cheers erupt into the night. Killing cathartic for the soul. Euphoric are these nights of blood. How can you say that you're appalled? Final cleansing, ecstatic purge. Throw the children on the pyre. Cafes bustling, the streets alive. Embracing terror, the spinning fire. The choice of a lifetime. We wait. Our guiding lights are here. Vile and miserable. The time to draw the line was long before our time. Our guiding lights are here. Vile and miserable. Distant pounding, cascades of light. Cheers erupt into the night. Killing cathartic for the soul. Euphoric are these nights of blood. How can you say that you're appalled?
Greg, Steve, what's crack-a-lackin', eh? Ha ha! Guiding lights. Ah, how inspiring. I found a quote of Todd on genius.com where he allegedly said, well, my Trump impression is really bad, but yeah, where he said, it's a sad one, and holy shit, yes, it is a sad one. Yeah, I had this idea of talking about how Andor and At Peace came out at relatively the same time, etc., and how I watched them, listened, blah, blah, blah. But I felt like I'd be plagiarizing someone. Did you guys or Chris talk about Andor? Did we have a huge conversation on the Discord? Fuck. That whole gala sequence on the show while the town or the other planet is being exterminated sound familiar? When I hear Guiding Lights, my brain goes to that scene from Andor, that gala sequence. And I know the reality of what's taking place in the real world is much, much more horrible. But I think that the show did a good job of like saying, this is fucking happening right now. Here's a version that even a 13-year-old can see, watch, and understand. Anyway, so yeah, I said I wouldn't talk about Andor, and look at me talking about Andor. But when the full album became available, on my very first listen, like I remember just fucking losing it at this little bit of lyrics. The choice of a lifetime. We wait. Our guiding lights are here, vile and miserable. The time to draw the line was long before our time. Our guiding lights are here, vile and miserable. The way Todd sings it too, like just fucking, makes me want to cry almost every time. But yeah, that song has been in my head all year. I had to learn it. But since I can't play it like they do, I can sort of kind of try, but whatever. I made it work for me in my little acoustic ways. And I think it came out pretty good. Yeah, usually with with covers, I make some changes. Like I'll change the tempo, I'll change the key it's in to match my voice. With this one, I stuck to the key, stuck to the tempo. In fact, I believe, I don't usually do this, but I think for this one, I remember recording the guitar while along with the track. Like I pressed play on the album and just played that first acoustic guitar along with it, so it should match up with it. And yeah, that's about it, man. I hope you guys enjoy it. At least you, Greg and Steve. The rest of you, I don't know. Bye.
Sounds of laughter, joyous songs. The guests are dancing, but something's off.
Okay, that was the plumbing guy. They're coming on Thursday to dig up the yard and drill into the basement. Hooray.
Love it. I love that
okay.
for you.
All right, so that was Matt Comtois playing Guiding Lights. Steve, I sent you this the other day. What an amazing rendition.
I'm going to go out and say it that I like this version better than the original version. This version is unbelievable. Matt did a phenomenal job. One of my favorite covers we've ever had.
I couldn't believe it. And I cannot believe that we were able to get a cover of this song this quickly. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad that people think that making these covers for these episodes is enjoyable and a good use of their time. I'm so glad that we were able to feature it on the show. Matt absolutely crushed it. Matt is truly one of my favorite collaborators
So
for the podcast ever. I mean, he's done so many great covers, and hilariously, Matt is doing another project with me that hopefully we'll have more information on in the near future. But really glad for that.
Just straight up, like 10 out of 10, dude.
Yeah,
10 out of 10. Love Matt Comtois.
Couldn't agree more. And he's done so many cool ones. Like, dude, the Adventures in Zoocosis and Anti-Manifesto French covers, wow, very cool. But this one it specifically translates so well for the style that Matt did it. And he played it at the same tempo as well. I think he told me that he was playing along on acoustic with the original version on the record. So I think that he is true to the tempo of the record as well.
So good.
Very cool. So Steve, you and I were at a Propagandhi show where this song was performed. And so I actually recorded the entire show on my phone. And I wanted to, before we talk about the song, I wanted to put that recording of the September 13th, 2025 at the Concert Hall in Toronto recording from the show that you and I were at together. So I'm going to go ahead and play that too.
The only thing I remember from that show
that we sat down the whole time?
That we sat down the whole time was like hanging out with you, Patrina, Zoe, and Blair. And so, like, I was just so fired up to be hanging out with Blair because Blair and I went to school together back in the day. So it was just so awesome to hang out with Blair again.
Yes, hello, Blair. It's been wonderful to run into him a couple of times. I've seen Blair at a couple of Propagandhi shows. I think he may have been at the Guelph show that we were at a couple of years back, too. So I've run into Blair a couple times, and I'm looking forward to the next time as well. And also, my friend Bob Van Valen was there. He sat up in the balcony with us for a little bit as well. And you'll see Bob at the wedding. He'll be there too. So hello to Bob and hello to Blair. This is Propagandhi performing at the Concert Hall, September 13th, 2025 in Toronto.
All right, never follow the lights of war and violence. It's my only advice to you tonight. Because I have nothing else to give anybody.
Cheers erupt into the night. Killing the fight for the soul. For all these nights of blood. How can you see the true fall? Final cleansing, ecstatic burn. Throw the children on the pyre. Captives bustling, the streets alive. Raising terror, spitting fire. Joy, all a lifetime. Win. Guiding lights are here. While it's miserable, time to draw the line. Long for the time. Guiding lights are here. While it's miserable, distant bounding. Cheers erupt into the night. Killing the blind for the soul. For all these nights of blood. How can you say that you're a fall?
All right. So, Steve, we have to play something. In March 2025, you and I recorded all of your first reactions to listening to the record for the first time. These are your initial reactions with never hearing it and your immediate thoughts after hearing it a single time. So here is Steve in March of 2025 reacting for the first time to Guiding Lights. Steve, you've just heard Guiding Lights for the first time. What is your reaction?
Wow, that was so different than what I was expecting to hear, really. Um, wow, I'm just like I'm almost at a loss for words as to how to really talk about that. Like straight up, I love it.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
I love it.
The first time
I
I heard it as well was the exact same reaction. Like, what am I hearing? I've never heard this before from this band.
It sounds like a completely different band, for one.
Hmm.
Number two, it is so heavy.
Yeah.
And it almost I'm getting so many like Mastodon vibes from it.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is like there's a drum fill kind of like just past the halfway mark. The drums sound unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the fill is great. And then like towards the end it goes into that like chugga chugga part that's just so heavy. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That
How do you
is
feel? How do you feel about the pace? Because this is like a brand new Propagandhi sound, right? This slow chug. It's very new territory. I mean, Note to Self is really kind of the only other example that really springs to mind for me.
I I like it.
Yeah.
I want to go on record and say that I think this is the correct logical decision for the trajectory of the band. Because they've already done the other thing better than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Why keep doing that? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. I want
And now,
weird. I want slow. I want heavy. This is great.
there's just so like, granted, like all the other songs, obviously, like they were emotional songs, and you can feel this song.
Yeah.
Like you can feel it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And how great does Todd's voice sound?
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. He's like a new guy, isn't he?
Oh my God. I can't even believe it. That is so good.
Yeah.
Like
I'm so
I'll
happy with
straight
it.
up say, like, so this I'm getting more out of, like, so opening track of this record, I'm liking it more than the opening when I've heard the opening track of basically every single record since Empires.
Nice. All right. Well, are you ready to keep going?
Let's keep going.
All right. All right, Steve, do you stand by your initial reactions from a year and a half ago?
Yeah, I still feel it.
Good.
Yeah, I'm still a Todd guy. Still feel it.
Yeah, it was exciting to have Todd open the record on this one. Um, so here's some of my thoughts on the music for this tune. Um, as you know, well, I've talked about this before, but I've really come to appreciate quote unquote slower music a lot more in recent years. Like I wasn't ready for songs like Life Disconnect or Cut into the Earth or even Note to Self, to be perfectly honest. Whenever those songs came out in 2005 and 2012, I definitely would not have been cool with this if I was still 21 or 22. If this record would have came out when I was in college or whatever, I would have probably never listened to it again. But being in my 40s, it is way easier, way more enjoyable.
Do you
Over
think
the
that
life,
makes it a dad rock record?
it's maybe a little bit, yeah. I mean, Chris is a dad. He talks about it all the time. He writes songs about being a dad. So there's definitely a dad rock element that
It's
shines
just
through.
it's this record and Jimmy Buffett. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, the yacht rock. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the yacht rock era of Propagandhi. Um, I love there's a mellowness to this record as well. There's a heaviness, but also a mellowness, and I love how mellow the drums are on the song. Um, I love that there aren't insanely huge cymbals played at all times, where George is just riding on like a 22-inch crash cymbal. You
Snare
know,
work is great in this.
really delicate. Like I love the little rolls. It's
Yeah.
very jazzy. It almost feels like I've walked into a New York City basement for a jazz set to see George back there going, "Trrrr," you know, really cool. Uh, and I love the cymbals aren't a main part of the drum sound on this record. I'm enjoying the fact that this record is sonically different. It's unlike their other records. I really like the plotting riff. Like I like the simplicity of the way that the drums serve the song. The fills after "Embrace the Terror," the spinning fire, where George's like ba 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 ba. Love that because it's like old school Jord mixed in with like the slowest
Oh, it's so good.
song they've ever done. Um,
And
so I'm just happy for Jord, honestly, that there are now songs in their catalog that breathe more, so that he can enjoy his and enjoy the nuance of playing a little slower. It's a totally different band now than did today's Empires, Tomorrow's Ashes. And I'm just kind of happy for Jord whenever I see that he gets to play some of these songs live because it just seems like such a more breathable situation for him percussion wise.
more enjoyable too, probably.
I would imagine so. Like I would imagine Jord is back there having more fun than when he's just trying to go Mach 12 the entire time. It's I can totally see why they don't do stuff like Mataka Marisakun Rasakan anymore. As much as I love that song and as much as I miss it, that and Purina Hall of Fame, like man,
Time and
grinding.
place. It had a time and
Yeah,
place, and that time and place is no longer now.
yeah, yeah. It feels like some of that stuff is kind of retired.
Good. Yeah,
If
bands
that's
should retire songs.
if that's what they want to do, then they should do exactly that. And I did ask Matt about the guitar as well, and he said that live they emulate a seven string. So where they have the top five strings are in a normal E flat standard, and then the low E is dropped to a B flat. And then Matt also told me that the little is that little lick that kind of ties the song together, defines the song, that little guitar lick. It's a hybrid picking where he's using a pick and fingers. So the high notes in that little lick are played twice with a pick, and the two notes are played with fingers. Um, so that's a little bit of what is creating that sound. It's a hybrid picking approach. And then Todd told me, like I said earlier, that he did play the Kowalski 7 string built by Beeve on the recording for the record. So Todd is on guitar on this song.
That's wild. It's funny, that guitar that's sitting right there behind me is actually tuned down to B. So it's tuned into 17 string tuning, and that's kind of just what I play for fun.
Oh yeah. Well, we maybe we'll finally maybe since the podcast is going slower now, maybe we'll and your dog is done with her surgery, maybe we'll actually finish some of the music that you and I want to record together
Yeah.
as a quote unquote band.
Yeah.
I would like to re-channel some of my efforts from the constant podcast grind into maybe putting some more of my own drum performances on recordings, you know?
I would love that. Get you over here and just fire up the kit and lay some stuff down.
I'm feeling that drive. You know what I mean? Like I love going out and playing my electronic kit, and like I said, my attention for this project is so much lower than it used to be that I feel like I actually have some space to do something a little more creative that isn't this. So I feel like that momentum is pulling us there.
Love it. I've got a few notes about the song. Todd's vocals, phenomenal.
Love them.
Hearing,
Totally,
like,
totally.
as being the opening of the record, hearing Todd's vocals like this is just like, oh yeah, this is where we're supposed to be. That
He's low, real low.
the chug part at 209, really love the chug part at 209. Really fits
Is that the
song.
distant pounding?
Yeah, super heavy.
Yeah.
The background picking at 230, that's just kind of faintly in the background, really subtly fits the song well. And then the other part that I noticed is the 20-second fade out the song has. That is a very long fade out from a sustained single note.
Yeah, that is really
20
actually very
full
long.
seconds.
Yeah, I know that Chris has talked in the past about how much they debate that kind of stuff too as a band. Like there's an interim section in Die Jugend Marschiert on Potemkin that's like 19 seconds long, and they had like a massive band debate or something back in the day about is this too self-indulgent, you know what I mean? And he's like, it's literally 19 seconds. So I'd imagine that the conversation on that fade out was like kind of maybe possibly funny on their end.
Because it's the first song on the record.
It is,
And
yeah.
you're ending your opening song, which is a really slow, uncharacteristic in quotes song, a jarring song for fans to listen to, being the first song on the new record. And then you're making them wait a full 20 seconds of sustain before the next song.
This is one of the biggest departures of this band. You know, this song specifically, this is to me a stylistic departure. That's a pretty extreme one.
But they nailed it.
Yeah, I'm glad for it. I like it when they tread some new earth, or cut some new earth, should I say?
Like if they released like a half-hour album just full of kazoo solos, like where would that sit with you? You'd be like, oh man, this is like the best kazoo playing I've ever heard, right?
Well, I think that would be a little much for me, honestly. I don't know if I would be able to go on that journey with them into their kazoo world. I would listen to it once, but you know what's actually really funny is how many times I listened to Beeve's World Ship LP. He did his second record solo as Kyle, and he did that World Ship EP, which is kind of like loosely based on the Kim Stanley Robinson novel Aurora. I listened to that record so many times. I am definitely going to be the 0.0001% Kyle fan on the streaming services at the end of year countdown for sure. But
Huge.
yeah, I'm the number one. I'm the number one Kyle fan. All right, so we've got some. Did you read any stuff about any of these like articles or whatever that Patrick talked about? Patrick in the Genius.com entry was talking about Sidero's Cinema. I found some stuff on this. Did you look into any of that at all?
Good Lord, I wish I did.
Yeah, well, you
it
are
was it
about to
was
be
not
educated.
happening.
You are about to be educated. So there's a town in northern or in Israel called Sderot, and I cannot like 100% verify that this song is exactly about that because it doesn't say this in the song. I'm going purely off of like what is mentioned in like Genius and stuff like that. But there's a town uh, called Sderot in kind of like west southwest. Uh, actually, it's not the country of Israel. The borders are shaped strangely, but if you picture the Gaza Strip on the western edge of Israel, there is a town called Sderot right on the border, close to the border fence on the northern edge of Gaza, near the town of Jabalia and Beit Hanun. And it's like, man, it looks like it might be like a kilometer. And there's a place called Givat Kobe, otherwise known as Kobe Hill. And for many years now, people in Israel have been climbing up to the top of this hill to watch places in Gaza get bombed. Um, and there's a bunch of articles on it, like dating back to 2009, related to this hill. So for many years now, um, there's been this like this viewing high point where people can climb up, and there's couches and chairs and stuff like that that people have dragged up there to watch Gaza bombings. And so it looks as if maybe the song could be about something like that. And I found an article called "The Best Show in Town from a Hilltop in Israel. Observers have a sinister view of Gaza bombings," and the author was Lucas Minicini. And I think it was in the New York Times, but I found or no, it was in Le Monde, a French newspaper. Um, but I found a unpaywalled version. I just go to removepaywall.com whenever I hit a paywall, um, which I wish I could support all journalism. That is worth paying for, of course. But in this case, I don't really read Le Monde because I don't speak French, and so a lot of their stuff is in French. But it's an absolutely unreal article with pretty surreal photographs of people literally joking around and laughing with each other with smoke in the far off distance. Um,
The
which,
pictures of like them standing on top of the hill with like like those Niagara Falls like things where you put the quarter in to like
yeah, you
look.
put the money in. Yeah, and I can't remember how many shekels it was, but it says in the article what it costs to put in the viewfinder thingy. But it's a pretty surreal article of people watching smoke rise in the distance, and then they're looking through the viewfinder to look at the devastated buildings, and you can actually look at photographs in the article of the buildings collapsed through the viewfinder.
It says it's 5 shekels to climb up the hill, to actually go up the hill.
Oh, really? So you have to go up, you have to pay just to go up the hill?
Yeah, that's what it seems it says here. After a short climb up a sandy path for just 5 shekels. Oh no, sorry, it's 5 shekels for the binoculars. My bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you see the couches and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's and with like the benches with the giant TV screens and
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. So, the sounds of laughter, joyous songs, the guests are dancing, but something's off. Distant pounding, cascades of light, cheers erupt into the night. So, in a Guardian article about Sderot and Kobe Hill from 2014, a quote says, "As the sun begins to sink over the Mediterranean, groups of Israelis gather each evening on hilltops close to the Gaza border to cheer, whoop, and whistle as bombs rain down on people in a hellish war zone a few miles away." So it's a very huge dichotomy where, normalcy exists in one spot and horror and devastation exists in another spot. But then there's also the celebrating of one spot, watching another spot be destroyed and devastated and being really happy about it. Um, but it never talks about that specifically in the song, right? It doesn't say, distant pounding in Beit Hanun in Gaza, watching from Sderot Hill. It doesn't say that in the song, so it could be about plenty of other places in the world. It could be about any kind of out group being devastated. And it's like how everybody else kind of lives like this too. Like you can watch from all over the world. Um, we all watched we watch wars happen all the time from the US and Canada. We can live stream any conflict or war that we want. And but all of our normalcy that goes along with it, I think about this all the time where, I just get on with it and we're so like desensitized to it now because all of us can watch live streams of wars all the time. Um, so people next to the war might be watching from a distance of like 1 kilometer and cheering, but the song doesn't say how far away the distant pounding is, right? If it's 1 kilometer or 6,000 kilometers, the cheers can emanate from really anywhere on Earth due to being able to essentially live stream wars at this point.
Do you think it's deliberately vague for this purpose because it makes it more relatable?
Yeah, I think that that's a really good way to do it because, like, the way the band used to operate in the past is they would list very specific conflicts, like COINTELPRO, East Timor. Um, but this one, it makes it so we think about people and the ways that we observe war in the moment, and you can be watching from 6,000 kilometers away or 1 kilometer away. And if you're watching, devastation and feeling glee about it, like how does somebody get to that point? Do you know what I mean? If you look at this next line, killing, cathartic for the soul, euphoric are these nights of blood. Like, what has to happen to people in order to become that desensitized to another person like being blown up, like, and having their body literally hit, like, explode into 1,000 different pieces? um and then, ask, how can you say that you're appalled? Like, I love the question, like, how can you say that you're appalled? What do you mean? Like, don't you realize that we deal with people who we put into the world's largest refugee camps and turned it into a permanent city in the late 1940s, and who now live behind 16 to 20-foot high walls forever? It's like, how can you say that we're appalled when, like, there's these situations that have been existing for years and years, and oh, they've bombed us so many times over these walls. But, it's so confusing to see that there's a lot of people in the world, and it is really sad too that there's so many people in the world that celebrate other people getting bombed, like kids, and you know what I mean, families, people who just want to be normal, but who essentially like are born and raised in a refugee camp, like concentration camp, essentially with 20-foot high walls. So it's a really difficult thing to talk about, and I've really been having a hard time this week making sense of how I feel about it. And I think that's probably the point of it all. You're supposed to feel that confusion and wrestle with that moral quandary of some people celebrate other people being killed and bombed and maimed, um, and then what are our feelings about that? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because obviously it's slightly different, but you have the America 250 stuff coming up this summer,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of really ties into everything that's currently going on there in Iran and everything too. And it's like the America 250 celebration is essentially going to be like, look how many people we've blown up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a really, really great example because during all the years of the 2 decades long wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, what was I doing? Jack shit. You know what I mean? I was doing my normal thing of going to college and getting a job and traveling and living a completely normal life and looking at stories on the news and feeling sad and against those conflicts and feeling sad for the people that, had negative interactions with the United States military. Um, and but I didn't do anything like about any of that. And so there's a lot of celebration that some Americans will be doing in the next month or so, for celebrating the quote unquote 250th anniversary of the country. But then if you really pay attention to the way that the country was formed, the displacement that went into it, I mean, it's a pretty dark history if you really think about it. So a lot of people, like, I haven't really been noticing a whole lot of celebration stuff going on here. Like, no one I know is talking about 250 besides making fun of the fact that everybody pulled out of that concert in DC. Everybody that I know is appalled by the UFC cage match happening on the front lawn of the White House.
You still have your tickets though, right?
Oh, I'm excited for Vanilla Ice, baby. Driving down and gonna go watch some Vanilla Ice on 4th of July.
Greg informed me that he won't be able to attend my birthday this year because he'll be at the UFC event on the White House at the White House instead.
Yeah, now they're expecting a big rain out too. They're expecting really bad weather. So apparently it could get really interesting too.
It sucks that Trump's birthday is the day before mine. It like takes all the shine off of what is going to be my 46th birthday celebration, which I will be celebrating by kicking a 46-yard field goal this year.
Yeah, dude, you just got to go straight from the 46 because if you try
100%.
if you try from the 40 and you nail it and it would have gone through, like you might only make that kick one time.
It's not even an option. I'm setting up at 46 and kicking 46. I'm having Zoe video me kicking a 46-yard field goal on the very first try. I've never kicked a football in my life before, and I'm confident that my very first kick is going to be a 46-yard field goal.
This is going to be amazing. I look forward to hearing the after report of all of this. Anyway, so this song, very difficult stuff because they never talk about a specific thing. All I have is this one example that I've kind of like latched onto. You know what I mean? But man, the next line, final cleansing, ecstatic purge, throw their children on the pyre. Man, that is bleak. Yep. And I did find an article in May of 2025 in The Guardian where an Israeli minister says that all of Gaza will be entirely destroyed. And as of May 3rd, 2026, 75,811 people, including 73,770 Palestinians and 2,039 Israelis, have been reported killed in the Gaza war, according to the Gaza Health Ministry and the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, including 270 journalists and media workers, 120 academics, and over 560 humanitarian aid workers, a number that includes 391 employees of the UNRWA. 70% of the Palestinians killed in the residential buildings or similar housing were women and children. So there's a lot of internet debate and chatter about, was it like an intentionally genocidal? And I mean, I have never felt dumber in my life than I have when trying to make sense of events like this. So there's competing opinions on that, obviously. There's like super duper Israel defenders, like people on this podcast may know Sam Harris, who still writes about and still defends Israel's actions during this war and is very, very insistent that there's no genocidal intent. And then there's people like Chris Hedges on the other side that are very, very clear on the genocidal intent. So, that's where the final cleansing stuff kind of comes through. But yeah, it's not a fun topic, man.
No, it sucks, man. And like, obviously, yeah, it sucks to talk about it, but like, imagine going through it, how much that would suck.
I know. And, I also am like, man, there's like cool people that you and I would be like really good friends with who like were just born in Israel. You know what I mean? And like either one of us could have been born in Israel. You know what I mean? Yeah. And be Israeli citizens. Like, it is wild how different people would be as people just based on the luck of the draw of where you are birthed into the world.
It's funny, on my bike ride yesterday, it's completely irrelevant, but I biked on a new street that I'd never been on before, and there was this house that was just like the largest like anti-Israeli and American propaganda signs and stuff out front I've ever seen. Like there had to have been probably about 15 defaced flags and signs, and it was wild.
Amazing. Did you snap a pic at all?
I did not. I was on it was in part of a climb. So I'm like, I'm not taking out my phone from from the back of my jersey to try and snap a picture mid hauling my butt up a climb.
Yeah. I love this next line too. Cafes bustling, the streets alive, embracing terror, the spinning fire. Like I love this line because it shows the dichotomy, right? Like where one society, like during a wartime, how people essentially like get on with it. Like I remember looking at articles about Ukraine and Russia and people in Ukraine just like getting on with their lives, like while Russia was invading them, and they're like going to work every day. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it literally reminds me of what's happening in Kiev. Like, did you? I don't know if you watched any of the French Open tennis.
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you see? It's escaping me her name, but the Ukrainian woman that was in the semifinals, she was talking about how every day when she's in France, she has to contact her family in Ukraine to just make sure they're still alive before she gets on the court.
Was it Marta Kostyuk?
I don't think it was her. They two Ukrainian women played each other.
Mira Andreeva?
No,
Yeah, so there was Mira
Marta made the
Andreeva. Oh, she's Russian.
yeah. She
Yeah, Marta Kostyuk of Ukraine to reach French Open tennis final.
yeah. Maybe it was her or she played another Ukrainian woman in the semifinals.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Semifinal French Open. Elena Svitolina.
Yeah, one of the two. It was one of the two of them. I think it was the Alina one, but yeah, she taught. It was a great interview about talking about having to like confirm her family's being alive every day before she gets on court,
Yeah, I
and like the
mean,
stress of like playing, knowing what's going on. It was heartbreaking.
also fun little propaganda reference in the song "Fixed Frequencies," which is also about sort of a similar topic to guiding lights from Temkin City Limits. Um, there's the line "lounging carefree in your cafes, absolved from sin and human grenades." So that was kind of interesting as well to see a line in another song from 20 years ago that still could go in this song. They could have just put that fixed frequencies lyric in this song too, and it would fit perfectly. Hmm. Um. Okay, so the choice of a lifetime we wait. Our guiding lights are here, vile and miserable. So during one of their live sets that I recorded, Todd said from stage, "Never follow the lights of war and violence," before they played the song. So I feel like that's kind of a nice little summation of what this lyric is about. How people can be drawn into the pack mentality of leading a population into a war against another population.
And it's also the perfect line to end the show on.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, there's more of the song, but it's such a great summation of what we've been talking about and everything, and just leave it to Todd to like just package it all up for us.
I know. And then like to end though, we just the time to draw the line was long before our time. Our guiding lights are here, vile and miserable. And like all of us who have been born into this insane world, and many of us who grew up happily ignorant of all of these things, but who have come to care about it, honestly, don't have much clue what to do about this. I personally have no idea, right? We keep trying to vote for anti-war people, yet people who go to war keep getting into power. And then people who get elected by saying they're anti-war aren't anti-war, such as the current president who lied to all of his followers saying that he was the president of peace and they believed him. And it really feels as that the only people who go into politics much these days are closeted narcissists who know how to say the right stuff to appeal to people to make them think they care about us, but when in reality they don't care about any of us. And a lot of world leaders really don't seem to care much at all. And it feels like it's like a hostage situation, living in a place that consistently people get into power that you do not agree with on virtually anything. It's like a hostage situation. Um,
For anyone that's read the Scythe series, it really makes you appreciate being ruled by the Thunderhead.
haven't read that. Ugh.
It's a deep cut for anyone who's read that, which I assume is probably zero people that listen to this show.
Yeah. So really hard song. I've personally had trouble coming up with my own thoughts about it. Because of all the reasons we talked about before we even talked about the song, but great song. Uh, Patrina said it reminded her of Tool yesterday. So it's apparently the most Tool
Does
propaganda
Katrina
song.
like Tool?
Yeah, she does.
Weird.
She saw Tool.
Weird.
Um,
Like I didn't know Patrina's a Tool fan.
she's not a fan per se. She had the opportunity to see them live and went. But
Because she's not a fan because she's not like a mid 40-year-old white dad.
no, and I think that she told me that it felt very samey for parts of it, and I think she went and stood in the concourse for a little bit to get a break.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So some Reddit comments. I went on Reddit and read some commentary about this song. And one Reddit user said, I think it's brilliant. There's so much here in a few words. I think the overarching message is that when we ignore the atrocities that are committed in our name, those atrocities eventually come home. And with them, this ubiquitous, euphoric sadism that permeates all of society. But he gets there with this imagery right out of the Israel Palestine conflict, where there are people literally celebrating and cheering and going to parties and concerts as the sounds of the bombs and their flashes echo through the night. There was a piece by Chris Hedges a while back called Nero's Guess, and it equated being passive in Western society in the face of our complicity with the genocide in Gaza as being like the people who would go to the lavish dinners at Nero's palace and drink and be merry as people were literally being burned alive as human torches in order to light the courtyard. It's hard for me to think that Todd didn't read it before writing this song. Um, so that's an interesting little piece of history as well, um, for the Emperor Nero. So anyway, may have to dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I got a couple fun YouTube comments. One person says this must have been influenced by Immolation. Super sick riff. Do you know the band Immolation?
I do, yes.
Does it remind you of Immolation? I've never heard them.
Uh, like, vaguely.
Okay. One person says Todd is really busting out the Gilmore vibes in the vocals on this one. Gotta love it. Do you think he sounds like David Gilmour from Comfortably Numb, Pink Floyd era on this tune?
I don't see that, but I don't know.
All right. I'm loving asking you if you agree with the YouTube comments. By the way, this is revenge for what you did to me during the Less Talk More Rock 30th anniversary episode. This song implicitly describes some sort of mob driven killing, which might occur during some ancient festival. For example, bonfires were lit on Beltane or Walpurgisnacht, but it could very likely also refer to kind of Kristallnacht. Do the cascades of light refer to SS torches or the barrage of at least 4,300 rockets that were fired on October 7th, 2024 during the Hamas-led attack on Israel? Or equally as valid is the heavy Israeli response. Lastly, perhaps this envisions some not yet realized night of deportation that the left envisions that Trump will soon commence in the States. Who knows? So this is a controversial topic.
It's a perfect example of the
This has been going on forever.
well, and the deliberately vagueness of the song, of not mentioning anything specific and how people can relate it to literally any conflict in which they choose, the one that resonates most with them.
Totally. Yeah. Like if you have a preconceived view of a certain type of conflict and the fairness, quote unquote, of an attack, or the righteousness of an attack and the righteousness or fairness or ratio of a response, you just put it onto your conflict of choice, which I think is,
It's smart.
yeah, it makes everybody think, hopefully. and I would say it's more. That another one says I would say it's more directly related to the ongoing genocidal position of Israel to Palestine, and in this specific case, I think it is looking at the images and videos that have circulated many times over the last many decades of sadistic Zionists and settlers reveling, cheering, delighting in the IDF bombs pounding Palestine yet again. There is something here about the ecstatic support for genocidal settler colonial violence, which could also be applied to the US or Canada or any number of settler states with similar histories and foundings in violence. Whew. So the commentary from this tune is very wide ranging. Um, and I'm sure that a lot of people have their own opinions on it. So obviously, our commentary and on such a challenging topic is in no way definitive. It's just a couple of dum dums in their home offices in their cushy houses in Buffalo and Ontario. Trying to make sense of the world just like everybody else.
And most of the time failing miserably at it.
Yeah. So for me personally, I cannot imagine being the people whooping and hollering, watching another place get bombed. And I don't find any joy at watching cities and villages and infrastructure being destroyed. I cannot imagine cheering ongoing destruction. Maybe this is very naive of me because virtually nothing bad has happened to me. Do you know what I mean? Um, I feel bad for people who are born and live in Israel and yet are just as horrified by war and violence as me. I'm thankful that I am not a religious fundamentalist in any way, and I don't want to live anywhere based on my religious views. I'm thankful that I don't live in Israel. I never want to go there, which sucks because it's one of the most historically important pieces of real estate in the world regarding the world's major religions and sites. And I will never go because I don't want to be there during any unexpected events or acts of violence. And I don't want any of my tourism money going to that country at all. So this is a part of the world that I will personally never get to experience. And I regret that, but I've basically decided that I'll never go there. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't relate to the people whooping and hollering, watching bombs get dropped. Um, but I also don't have any life experiences that would turn me into that type of person.
I echo everything you said there. I was like, based off of what both of us were doing last night, I'm like the only hooting and hollering watching bombs drop that we're doing lately is the bombs that Jalen Brunson is raining in from three on the San Antonio Spurs.
Well, they had a chance last night to take home the championship, but as we know, everything Trump touches dies. And he was in the building, and they were totally cursed because of that gigantic loser
Yep.
that inconvenienced the entire organization and all the fans going to Madison Square Garden, who had to get wanded and patted down with extra security measures. So, but anyway, what do you rate the song? I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
I think that's fair. I think it's my second favorite song on the record after No Longer Young.
Yeah. I feel like it could use one more thing. Do you know what I mean? The I feel like there's like it feels like a little short, and then it could just have one little twist of an earworm to take it to another level for me. I'd never skip the song. I listen to it every time I listen to the record. I never hit next. But there's just like maybe like one more part that I'm just left wanting something I can't place.
If you ask me again in 5 years what I rate this song, it's going to be higher. I
Yeah,
guarantee you.
yeah,
But
because
like
it
right
will.
now, like I
Yeah,
said, we're just longer than 1 year after release date, which is not nearly long enough to be able to properly like digest, and given most of it is my fault because I straight up don't really listen to it, and that's fine. But like you got to be in the right mindset to be able to put on a propagated record, and sometimes you're just not there.
yeah, and with the world being so overwhelming, um, I've been listening to like a lot of different stuff. I've been listening to a lot of country,
Yeah.
uh, and you know, emo pop punk, like Between Bodies from Germany, friends of the podcast. I've been listening to their new record a ton. But it's hard to listen to stuff like this whenever you are just, there's an onslaught of bad and unfortunate world events around you. It's hard to listen to stuff like this all the time because it drags you down when everything else is dragging you down as well.
Man, me today saying that I don't really ever listen to Propagandhi is just fuel in the fire of all the people on Reddit that hate me on this show.
Do people even talk about us on Reddit? I think we are pretty ignored.
I was trying to find something that you'd posted, and I'd searched it, and all I saw was a thread about being like, new co-host sucks. And everyone just commiserating about how much they hate me and how terrible I am compared to Keith. And now that I said I don't really listen to Propagandhi, they're just going to have a field day with how much they hate me and don't want me around anymore.
Well, as much as I love Keith is never coming back. During your little sabbatical while you were helping get Mrs. Coach treated and cared for, I texted Keith and I was like, "Hey man, Steve's going through some life stuff. Do you have any interest in co-hosting an episode with me?" And he was like, "Can't do it, too busy." And I was like, "Okay, no problem. Good to have boundaries, buddy." So no Keith, but hello Keith, we love you.
Yep.
Cool. Well, any other thoughts before we bring this fucker in for a landing?
No, I think in an ideal world, we put out maybe one more episode before your wedding, and let's see if it happens.
Yeah, I think we'll do fire season next. We've got a cover for that one. But yeah, thank you to Matt Comtois. You came through for us, my buddy.
10 out of 10 cover.
Awesome. Well, anyway, thank you for listening. If you want to reach out and tell us how much you hated this episode because we bumbled our way through it, feel free to send all hate mail to propagandipod@gmail.com. Steve, see you next time. Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.
Cleansing, ecstatic purge. Throw the children on the pyre. Cafes bustling, the streets alive. Embracing terror.